guys wondered where this intro song went, I had to bring it back. Let's go. Rent got too expensive, had to leave LA. San Diego's where I'm headed, I'm mixing it up like a parfait. Playing poker every day, going all in with these fish like I'm at an all-you-can-eat buffet. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video here at a private game in Dallas. It's a 1-2-5 game. We're in for $1,000, and let's just jump right into the hands. Let's go. This is an atmosphere unlike any other that I've posted on my channel so far. So if you guys like this different kind of stuff, the private games, the home games, let me know down below. But let's just jump right into the hands. The action is gonna be insane. Let's go.
I lost you.
Cheers.
Salud, Eli.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right. Here, anyone who busts the wolf gets $100 bounty now.
Oh, jeez. They got money on my head now. Oh, I'm in trouble. First hand of the night, I look down at pocket eights from the low jack. I decide to raise it up to $15, and James in the small blind puts in the call, which brings in one other player. We're going three ways to a flop, which Cubs favorable, as Andrew Nemi would say. Jack 8-4, bang, we flop middle set. Dream spot for us, and it gets even better when James leads into the field for $20 and the action's on me. I decide to go for a re-raise, but I size small for $55. Not exactly sure why I only went to 55 in the moment. Probably 80 is a better size, because when I'm bluffing here with my diamond flush draws, I'm also going to want to size up. I don't want to give him a great price, so I should do the same thing with my value hands. James puts in the call, and we're off to a turn heads up after the big blind gets out of the way. The turn comes the 5 of hearts, and the action's on James. Is he going to check it over to me after I re-raise him on the flop? No, he came to play. He puts all of his chips in the middle, $125, and I snap call him obviously with my set. The river gives us a boat. It comes a jack of spades, and he turns over pocket queens. Unfortunate for him, but we're taking down the first hand of the night. $405 coming my way. Oh, and did I mention, James? You made the vlog. Nice hand, James.
Thank you, Alex.
You made the vlog.
I did? Wow, what time to make the vlog, I guess. On my sadness, huh?
Did I miss something?
You made the vlog. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Honor
Mac.
and a pleasure. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Down up.
Guy called me out. I had to take my shot. I had no choice.
Let's go.
After taking a shot with Mac for his birthday, we're properly fueled to play this next hand. We look down at ace-3 of diamonds, and I decided to raise it up to $15 from middle position. We get 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop, which gives us a nut flush draw. Comes 10-7-4 with 2 diamonds. The action checks over to Alex, a vlog watcher on my left. Great name, by the way. And he decides to bet out for $40. 2 callers to me, and now we have a decision point. Do we go for the check raise, or do we just call? Check raising seems like a smart play. However, there's 2 other players in the hand that both put in $40. It's unlikely they do have sets, but they could still have some pretty strong hands like ace-10, 10-7. So I decide just to put in the $40 and see what the turn card brings in. The 4 of diamonds is definitely a welcome card on the turn. Bang, we turn the flush. The board does pair though, so it's not the best card in the world, but I'll definitely take it, and I decide to check in flow. Unfortunately, the action gets checked around, but we see a harmless 9 of hearts on the river. With 220 in the middle, I'm definitely not checking again. I decided to bet out for $55, looking to extract a little bit of value after the passive line from the opponents on the turn. I probably also could be sizing up like 125 to 150 in the future, but in the moment, I bet $55. And good news for us, Alex puts in the call. We get a cherry on top when TJ calls as well for $55, and we're gonna scoop this when we turn over our hand. Both opponents muck, and we're gonna take down that nearly $400 pot. We're running hot and it continues in this next hand. We look down at ace queen offsuit from the small blind. Birthday boy Mac on the button opens it up to $10, and that's not going to go unpunished. I decide to 3-bet him to 35. He puts in the call, of course. He's feeling lucky, and we're going heads up out of position to a flop, which comes ace high, ace king 5 rainbow. We're going to have this board locked up like 90% of the time, so sometimes I don't mind checking, but in this moment I bet out for $25, and that induces him to do something crazy.
All in.
Yes, he snap jams all in for $200, and with top pair, I'm not going anywhere. I put in the call, and let's see what he turns over. I turn over ace queen, and he turns over Israeli Ron. He's been watching too much Live at the Bike. Queen deuce offsuit, and we're running it 2 times. First board comes 3-3, the second board comes king 9, and we're going to take down both boards and get rewarded with 470 extra chips added to our stack. Up 460 on the session, and what could be better other than looking down at the bullets? I raise it up to $20 from middle position, and only the hijack puts in the call. Heads up out of position to a flop, which comes queen jack 5 with 2 hearts. We also have the ace of hearts in our hand. I decided to go for a half pot size bet for $25. The hijack puts in the call, pretty standard so far, and we see a 10 of diamonds on the turn. An overbet seems to make a lot of sense, but instead I decided to go for $55, which I don't blame myself at all. Still got to get value from any of the heart draws, and hands like king queen, king jack, things of that nature. I bet out for $55. Unfortunately, the hijack wants no more of this battle. He mucks his cards, and we're taking down yet another pot, which brings us to the next hand, 8-9 of clubs from the small blind. This might be the hand of the night. Buckle up, you'll see why at the end. I'm in the small blind and there's a few limps to me, so I decided naturally to pop it up to $15. We get 2 callers, one of them is Mac on the button, and we're going 3 ways to a flop, which comes interesting, 7-5-3 rainbow. Gonna take a stab into this pot, representing all our 2 pairs and sets out of the small blind. I bet out for $15, middle position gets out of the way. But it's Mac's birthday, he's not going anywhere, he puts in the call, and we see a board pairing 5 of diamonds on the turn. When I get looked up by Mac, it's likely he has a decent hand, so I check it over to him, looking to see if I can call a bet. Not faced with a tough decision, he checks behind, which rivers us the open-ended straight draw. It comes to 10 of diamonds. When he checks back the turn, it's not likely he has a great hand, so if I size up here like 2/3, we're going to get a lot of folds from the bottom part of his range, like 3-4, ace-3, things of that nature that have us beat, so I decided to bet out for $55. Now what you're about to see has never happened to me before on a table, and you need to let me know down in the comments if you've ever witnessed or heard of anything like this. When I bet $55, he pretty much snap calls me. I turn over my cards, and let's just play the tape.
You're such a whore. How did you do that?
I rivered the open-ended straight.
You're the worst.
Say anything, dude.
How did I do that, bro?
Cause you're bad. You're so bad. Nice hand. Nice hand.
9 high was good, right?
Yeah.
9 high was good?
No, it was not good. It was not good until the rest. It was not good.
Yeah, so I have no idea what happened in that hand other than I'm scooping the pot. I feel a little bit bad for Mac. I didn't really say anything at the end. I guess I could have told him I just have 9 high while he was deciding whether to muck or show his cards. But at the end of the day, we both came to play, and if he's not going to table his hand, it's considered dead, and my 9 high is going to win. Really interested to hear down in the comments if you've ever seen anything like this. Winning with 9 high, and of course I had to give a needle at the end, asking him if it was good. We go from that nutty hand to another one. I look down at pocket aces from the low jack. Mac, of course, he wants to just make every hand in the vlog. He raises it up to $50. Now, in a normal situation when I'm not filming or against a normal opponent, I'd 3-bet large here to $150 to $175. Instead, I decide just to min-click it back to him for $100.
It's my fucking birthday, man.
He has 300 in his stack, so I'm pretty confident I can get all the money in on the turn or the river. He puts in the call, and we're off to a flop, which comes king, king, 8. After some table talk, he checks his action over to me, and I think this is a good board to go for some deception and check behind. If I bet here, I'm pretty much just going to get folds from any of his weaker hands, other than his pocket pairs like 10s, jacks, and 9s. So I decide to check behind to get my 2 streets on the turn and the river. The turn comes the ace of diamonds. Bang! We turn a boat. top boat to be exact, and we're only losing to pocket kings. The ace of diamonds is a welcome card to see. However, in the long run, I don't actually think it's a great card for us because now it makes hands like queens, jacks, and tens less likely to call to streets. I had them beat on the flop, and the ace seems like a little bit of overkill. Still, when he checks it over to me, I'm going to go for value and bet a quarter the size of the pot for 50 bucks. Looking to size up on the river and get the rest of our stack in. When the river comes a harmless 4 of spades, I'm going to stick to that plan when he checks it over to me. I rip it all in for 150 effective into the $300 pot, and he's getting 3-1 on his money. He decides to fold pocket 10, so you see what I mean about that ace on the turn. It's likely he would have called me down, barring no ace on the turn or river. I table my aces to let him know he made a good fold at least, and we're going to take down yet another pot against our nemesis, Mac.
I mocked it. I mocked it. I mocked it. I mocked it.
Oh no.
An added bonus in some of these home games is that they bring in a private chef. This one is no different, and I got a shrimp fettuccine alfredo. Although it's comped, you need to make sure you tip the chef. 1800 in my stack, I look down to ace 3 of diamonds, and there's one raise up to $15. Instead of 3-betting, I like just to put in a call, looking to play a large pot if a 3 or a few diamonds appear on the board. I put in the call, Alex to my left puts in the call as well, and we're going 3 ways to a flop. With ace 3 of diamonds, what does it come? 339, bang, we flop 3 of a kind. Dream spot for us again. I decide to check in flow. Alex on my left checks as well, and now Preston decides to bet out for $30. Can I go for the check raise here? Sure, I think that's the better play in the long run, but it's a meetup game. I'm deviating from standard plays left and right, and this one's no different. I put in the 30 bucks this time, and now Alex check raises it up to $90. Preston puts in the call, and now we could go for another raise and spring the trap. But I think my logic in the moment was if I put in the 60 bucks, if we see a clean turn card, which isn't a spade, I can get the money in there. So I just decided to put in the 60 bucks and look for a clean turn. Unfortunately, a clean turn, we do not get it. Comes to 8 of spades, bringing in the most obvious front door flush draw. I check my action, and Alex surprisingly checks as well. The action's back over to Preston after getting check raised on the flop. Let's see what he does. He bets out for a cool $100. I think it'd be pretty nitty for me just to fold right away, especially with 325 in the middle. So I put in the call, and surprisingly Alex gets out of the way. So we're left heads up with Preston to the river. There's 525 in the middle, and the river comes a harmless 7 of diamonds, unless of course he had a hand like 10 jack, although he'd be a lunatic to play his hand like that. I check, and surprisingly he checks behind. So when I turbo my ace 3 of diamonds, I'm expecting to be good when he doesn't go for value, right? All of his spade draws would bet on the river for thin value, except this one. Queen 6 of spades is what he turns over, and he's going to get rewarded with that pot, although it feels like a win for us because we didn't have to pay off another $200 bet. Alright Preston, you take that one, but I'm going to look down at my favorite hand, pocket 7s, and I'm going to do some damage. I raise it up to $20. Bobby in the cutoff puts in the call, and Mac in the big blind puts in the call. He hasn't played a hand with me in about, 5 minutes, so he's fiending for some screen time, puts in the call. We're off to a flop, which is no good for an opponent. Comes 9-7-4, bang, we flop middle set. I only play pocket 7s because they flop me a set like 100% of the time. It's just a fact, and Mac decides to rip it all into my face for 90 bucks. Poor guy. I put in the call. What else am I going to do on this flush and straight draw board? I put in the call, and Bobby gets out of the way. Smart man. We're off to a run out, and he turns over his cards 7-4 offsuit, so he actually had a pretty good hand. Although, what are you doing playing that pre-flop map? Come on, you just gotta fold that hand. With 240 out there, we're gonna run it 2 times. The first board comes a 4, giving him a little bit of hope. The river comes a king of spades, and we're gonna take that one. The second board is also no good for Mac, and we're taking down yet another pot, and the dude just can't catch a break.
On my f***ing birthday, dude?
We're at a few more hands to go. I look down at king 9 of hearts from the big blind, and I open it up to $15. We get called in 2 spots, Alex and Mac. The flop comes 7 deuce deuce with 1 heart. Mac checks it over to me and I'm out of position to Alex, so I start with a check with my 2 overs and the backdoor flush draw. Alex wisely checks behind and that gives me top pair. It comes the king of spades. When Mac checks it to me for a second time, I'm gonna go for some value, although I don't like my sizing. I need to size up and protect against hands with 1 spade in it. For that price, Alex can't get out of the way. He puts in the call and Mac decides to fold. When the river comes another spade, the 8 of spades this time, I go for a bet of $40, just representing all the strong spades in my range, like the ace and queen of spades. Alex goes into the tank, and because it's a mini meetup game, I want to have some fun banter with my opponents. I let him choose one of my cards after seeing he's in a tough spot, and he decides to turn over the 9 of hearts. Not a great card for us to show. Honestly, none of my cards are great. I don't want to show any of them. But when he sees the 9 of hearts, he makes an easy call. He puts in the call and turns over 3 of a kind. Yeah, I think, man, you just got to put in the call there, even if I don't show the 9 of hearts. But finally a pot going Alex's way. He's taking down that nearly $200 pot. Ace Queen offsuit from the button is the next hand we're going to battle with. The hijack opens it up to 20 and I 3-bet him to 65. Perfect sizing for me and he puts in the call. When the flop comes ace 9-3 with 2 clubs, we flop ourselves top pair and he checks it over to me. 80% of the time I'm going for a bet around $45 in this spot, but I elected to get a little bit tricky, which I don't really love on a 2 club board. I check the action behind and that brings in the 4 of clubs, which is the disaster card. Not only does it bring in the front door club draw, it also connects the board a little bit more for anyone holding a 5. The hijack now leads out into me for $75, and because I checked behind on the flop, I can't go anywhere when he leads into me. I've definitely underplayed my hand. I call the 75 bucks and we see the king of clubs on the river. The hijack now checks it over to me and we have an interesting decision. I have top pair, but can I turn my hand into a bluff? Trying to get maybe a set or a weak flush to fold, like maybe something that's 5 high, 6 high, 7 high flush. They'd probably fold if I bombed it on the river. I think better of it though and check behind. Unfortunately, he turns over 8-5 of clubs, so I think a large bet on the river might have got the job done. I can still represent all the queen and jack of clubs in my range. I check behind though, and that's going to reward him with that $300 pot. I think I played this hand pretty bad. 2 more hands to go, and it's only fitting I look down at pocket 2s from the hijack and I open it up to $15. We're going to get called in 3 spots. That means we're going 4 ways to the flop, which comes jack 9 deuce. Bang, we flop bottom set. Absolute sun run here in Dallas. I keep smashing every board and I'm basically winning every pot. When the action checks over to me, I decide to check it over to the cutoff. He checks behind and we're off to a turn, which comes the ace of hearts. The action checks to me for a second time. I can't get sneaky anymore. I decide to bet out for $35 into the field, and only Alex on my left puts in the call. I think I could also size up on this turn and get a little bit greedier, but either way, when the king of spades peels off on the river, there's 130 in the middle and I bet out for 60 bones. Alex puts in the call again and he's never going to see those chips. They're going into my stack when I turn over my set. Unfortunate for him, but we're taking down yet another $250 pot, which leads us into the last hand of the night when we look down at king jack offsuit from the button. There's a bunch of limpers, which is always a sign of a great game. I'm going to punish them and raise it up to $25. We get 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. There's $100 in the middle and it comes king high. Out of position to the low jack, I start with a check and he bets out for $40. Gonna go for the check call in this spot, not the check raise, and I'm the only one to do so, and we're heads up out of position to a turn. When the turn comes the 4 of diamonds, I start with a check once again, and now he sizes up to 70 bucks. Can't be going for a raise. I can't be folding to another bet. I put in the 70 bucks and we're off to the river. 320 in the middle and I could be leading maybe like 50 or 75 bucks. Instead, I decide to check and now he goes into the tank for a while. I mean like over a minute, probably close to 2 minutes. Ultimately, he resigns and checks behind. I turn over my king jack offsuit, which is good. And I announce to the opponent that if he was betting, I was putting in the snap call. Sometimes I feel like the longer the opponents think about a hand, the more it leans towards a bluff. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Does the amount of time an opponent's thinking in the hand tip you off one way or the other if they're bluffing or not? With that being said, we're taking down yet another $300 pot. We rack up our chips and head over to the cage, exchanging our chips for some cold, hard cash. Got into the game for $1,000, never had to rebuy, and we got out for $1,565, a profit of $565. Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.